Okay, I think it is visible, right? So today we'll just see the next concept in the C programming, that is array in C. Actually, today I'll just wind up this C programming part so that we can study the little bit the different problems and the data structure concepts, right? Array concept already you just studied in Python programming also. So these points I just cover in sorry, this is array. Okay. So these points I just cover in this array. First is the definition. Might be everyone is knowing about the definition. Then how we can declare that array in C programming. How to access that array elements in the C programming. Then again how to initialize, how to change the values of the array elements, and how to accept and display the array elements. Right. Now see, till today we have seen the individual variables, because when we declare any variable, so that variable is used to store some value, right? So suppose like int a, b, c, these three variables we have used. So a will store the different number, then b will store the different number, and c will store the different number, right? So here there is no any relation between A, B and C, because these are the independent variables. Okay. Now that next, suppose sometimes we need that all elements for a particular problem, right? So in that case we can use that concept of array. So when we just go for the definition, so the definition is very simple. It is a collection of the elements with the same data types, you can say. So whatever is the collection, whatever is the cluster that we have, so that is of the same type. Oh, please mute your mic, if somebody's mic is on the muted. Okay. Oh, so this is the definition. So it is a simply collection of the elements with similar data types, we can say. Right? So I have just given that definition also here. So array is a collection of atoms with similar data types. So keep in your mind whatever elements we have, or whatever is the cluster of that elements we have. So all these elements will have the same type, same data type, right? So that is a definition. So every element would have either integer data type or float data type or character data type. So whatever, right? So every element will have the same data type. So an array is a variable that store multiple values that I said. For example, suppose you want to store suppose 100 integer numbers, then in that case we need to use the concept of array. And see, whenever we just use the concept of array, so all these elements will be stored in consecutive manner. One this example is given here. Again, I just copied this the figure from the internet. So see, these are the memory locations 0, 1, 2, 3, and 4. All these are the memory locations. So what is the case in array? So all these elements are in consecutive manners. So if suppose you are having that the cluster of integer, then we can say suppose first element address is 1000, right? So second block address would be 1002, getting, because integer will have 2 bytes, right? Then next will be 1004, then 1006, then 1008, like this, right? But in memory we need that much memory free, and that should be in a sequential manner, right? If suppose somewhere is 10 bytes, other where some 10 bytes and 30 bytes or something, so that is not allowed in the array. Whatever is the size of array, so that much memory should be available in the memory. Now here, this example is array of size 5, I just given as an example. Now here the 5 blocks is been reserved, we can say. Now see, 1 2 3 4 5, but see, the whatever are the indices, so these indices are like 0, 1, 2, 3, 4. So starting index is 0 and last index is 4. It means if that array size is 5, then whatever is the last index number, that should be 5 minus 1, right? That is 4. Why that is 4? Because we have started that from 0, and array always start from the 0. That you just keep in your mind, right? So whichever is the starting index of that array, that is the 0, and last index would be n minus 1, we can say. If suppose n elements are there, then n minus 1 would be the last location index, we can say. And here also each block is having some kind of address, but whenever we just work with the array, so main address is the starting address, whatever the first block address, that is the most important, because once we get that starting address, then we can find out the address of any element, because all are in consecutive manner. Okay, so whatever is the address of this first block, that address is called as base address. It means once we get that base address, then we can find out the address of any element. Getting this? So this is the we can say definition and some kind of introduction about the array. Have you understood this array concept? Because till today, till now, we have seen the single individual variables, but this is a, we can say, collection of the elements with same type, and that is the single variable we are considering. So that we'll see how to declare that variable also, right? Because suppose this example I have given, suppose you want to store the 10 integer numbers, and if you are not using suppose that array concept, then we need 100 the different variables, and you can understand, so it's very tough to manipulate or to declare these 100 variables. And whatever the variables are 100, so these are, we can say, hard coded variables, because if suppose my need is more than 100, again there would be a problem. If suppose my need is less than 100, again there would be a problem. Getting this? So that's why that simply that individual variable is not the solution for such kind of problems. So that solution is what? That solution is the array. Getting this? So this is the about array. Now we'll see how to declare that array in the C programming. Now see, this is the declaration of array. So this is the syntax, we can say. So first we need to write data type and array name, or we can say this is a variable actually. And in square bracket, we need to specify the size of that array. This example is given here, int mark 5, right? So that int is what? This is the data type. It means all the 5 elements are of integer type, we can say. So this is the mark is the array variable, and inside of this, that 5 is the size of that one. Getting? So now here all these 5 elements will be treated as a integer. Now that the interesting thing is what? Suppose if you want to use only out of 5, suppose you want to use only 3 blocks, then also you can use. Only that restriction is what? Beyond that 5 we cannot use, because whenever we just declare that array, you just keep in your mind maximum size of your input. If that size is like or your the input is like more than 100 or something, so declare that as a 200. Again we will see there are some drawbacks of that also, that we'll see later on. So here out of 5 we can use 1 block, 2 block, 3 block, 4 block, or all 5 blocks you can use. Getting this? So this is the, we can say, declaration of the array. Here also I just written 2 lines. We declare an array mark, this one, and all the elements in this are integer. So the type of this array variable is the integer, and size is 5. Getting this? It means this one, it can hold 5 integer values. Now here it's important to note that size and type of an array cannot be changed once it is declared. because you know whatever the declaration of that variable, we write it at the beginning of your program. So that's why once that size and type is been declared, so that will not be changed throughout the program. If you want to change that type and size, then initially again that same variable you need to edit. So that's why once it is declared, so that will not be changed. Getting this? So this is the declaration of array, we can say. So whenever you use array, so in this way you can declare that. Getting this? So I think declaration is very simple. Sorry. Now, how we can access the array elements? Now, as I said, that same example I am just carry forwarding here. So here, suppose that int marks, right, and 5, that is the size of array. That same I am just taking here. See, these are the two the block diagrams, we can say. These are the memory locations. So before just storing the values into this memory blocks, so this one is the diagram, and after just storing that values, so this one is there, right? Now see, how do I access that any block from that memory or from that array? Now see, as I said, this is all the blocks are in consecutive manner. So whatever is the name of this first block, that is a mark 0, because that array that we declared as a mark and that size is 5. So zeroth one name is what? Mark 0. This is the name of this block. The name of this block is mark 1. Name of this block is mark 2. Name of this block is mark 3, and this mark 4. Right? It means suppose I want to access any blocks, so using that these indices I can access any block or any element, particular element from the array. In this example you can see here, suppose you want to access this 8, so how I can access? Using this mark 2. If you want to access this 9, so using that mark 4 you can access it. Or like this one, I can access using mark 1. So in this way you can access the array elements. Getting this? And while storing and while retrieving, that same process will be used here. Now next is how to initialize the array. Like this one is what, just diagrammatically I just shown you how to store that elements into the memory. Now here there are two ways to accept the array. One, we can hardcode that array, and second one, we can accept the array elements from the user. Please mute your mic. Someone mic is on. Please mute it. Okay. So here, as we have the 5 elements here, so this is the one way of just initializing that array. So int mark, and we can provide the size of that array also. It means here maximum element we can assign at 5. This one is the one way, or second way is also this one. Here not necessarily put the size also, because whatever number you are using here, that much memory will be reserved. So here the 5 elements are there, so that's why that size will be treated as a 5. Or here also you can provide the size along with this element. So either you can use this or this, but normally we don't use this one because this is for the hard coding, right? So once we hard code, so other variables or other number we cannot accept from the user. So that's why this is for the information, you can say. Sometimes it is required, but normally we accept the values from the user. And that memory representation for this is shown here, that same diagram, whatever diagram we have seen in last slide. So 9, 19, 10, 8, 17, and 9, these will be assigned into the respective blocks, right? And here Mark 0 is equals to 19. As I said, how do I access the elements? So mark 1 is equal to 10. Mark 2 is equal to 8. It means these are the values. Mark 1 value is 19. Mark 0 value is 19. Mark 1 value is 10, like this. Mark 4 value is 9. Right? So in this way, we can initialize that array, right? And in this case, if you are not providing this one, so the compiler will know that size, whatever is the size, because that size is depend on this number of elements. So if you provide here only 3 elements, if you initialize 3 elements, so that size of that array would be 3. If you initialize here the 10 elements, so that size would be 10 in this case, right? So this is the how to initialize that array. Then now, how to change the value of an array element, right? Now see, with example, I'll just explain this, how to change that array element value. So these are the, suppose the 5 elements we have, and if you want to change any value, and last slide we have seen here, this case, mark 0 equals to 19, mark 1 equals to 10 something, right? So similar to this one here, these are the 5 elements we have. The location of 19 is 0, then 1, then 2, then 3, and then 4. Right? So which value you want to update or modify, that you can decide. Suppose here that third value I want to modify. So which one is third? This third is 8, right? But actual index of that 8 is 2, because it is starting from 0. So 0, 1, and this 2. So this mark 2 that we can update, or mark 3 we can update, or mark 1 we can update, like this. So in this example I just told, so second and fifth value to modify, I just told here in this slide. So third and fifth. So third means this one, and fifth one is last one. But index for this is 2 and index for this is 4. So here mark 2, for this mark 2 I just assign the 20 value, and mark 4 I assign suppose -5 value. It means this is the original array, and whatever is the modified array as per this modification is 19, 20, sorry 10, this 20, instead of this 8 we just modified this 20, then 70, 17, and instead of this 9 I just modified that -5. So it means using this mark 1 or mark 2 or mark 3, you can access that value, and then we can change or modify that value. Getting this? So this one is the simple one, how to modify that. The next one, how to accept and display, right? So I have just given that a small program here. See, to accept and to display that array, as I said, that array is a collection of the elements. So that's why we need to use any loop here. So that loop is mandatory here, because we are having the multiple elements, we need to accept that multiple elements or multiple values. So instead of just accepting in a single statement, we can use the any loop. So that any either while loop, for loop, or do while loop, you can use any loop for accepting and for displaying the elements. So one example I just given here, uh, I have just said enter the 5 elements, suppose, right? Now here that size of mark is 5, and I need to accept the 5 marks or 5 elements from the user. So for that I just use this segment, right? So here you can see here, this is used to store that element into the particular location. Initially that I value is 0, so it means this is 0, so that whatever value you are entering, that will be stored at mark 0. Getting? Then when that I will increment by 1, so when that I value becomes 1, so whatever the entered value, that will be stored here at mark 1. Getting this? So using this one, we can accept the 5 elements, or whatever number you want to accept, that you can accept using this part. And that same array, suppose you want to display, so again you need to use that any loop, and you can use this printf. And see, this is the regular, the syntax. Only here this is the different one. Getting this? Because this is a array. So that we will see, we'll copy this and try to run over here. Right? So again here that same problem would be there because I just copied it. Oh, I need to change this. That opening and press. This is the problem in this Ubuntu. Okay, I think this also. Okay, I think it is fine. Okay, I'll save it and run it. Let me see. Oh, somehow that I is not declared. So you can see it is the compiling. Now say enter an array elements, because this statement is getting executed. Now it is waiting for that 5 elements, because we have this the for loop. So I can enter like 1, 2, 3, 4 and 5, right? And you can see that output is entered array is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So here in this single variable we have stored all these 5 elements. I think you understood this. Now see, once we have this the number of elements in your hand, so we can perform the different kinds of operations on the array. Like suppose you want to perform some sorting operations, or any other operations if you want to perform, so you can perform these operations on these elements. So here what we understood that mainly is how to accept the array, how to display that array. Because the if you are using the single variable, in that case you need that number of element, that number of variables. Like suppose here in case of this, suppose you want to accept the marks of the 5 subjects, then we need mark 1, mark 2, mark 3, mark 4, mark 5, like this 5 variables we need. And then we can store these the particular marks into the respective variables. But instead of just defining the 5 different variables, if you just create simple array variable, single variable, and in that we can store the marks of 5 courses, we can say, right? So this is the alternative for the normal variable, we can say. Getting? So anything here? I think that concept everyone is knowing. Only that different is what this one, right? So any doubt on this and the array concept? Because see, whatever the operations are there that we are taking in the next the unit, we have separate unit for that. So there we will see the different operations. Only here you need to understand what is array, how to access the array elements, how to accept the array, and how to display the array. Right? Once we have that elements in your hand, then we can perform the different operations on these elements. But that main thing is to have the elements in your hand. So how to have that elements in your hand? So this is the way to have the elements into your hand. Getting this? So using for loop here on this one. So these are the two segments. This is the one segment to accept the elements, and this is the second segment to display the elements. Any doubt? Any doubt here? Okay, no. Okay, then just move toward the next concept. I think we'll see the different problems based on this array also. See array, pointer, and structure that we are taking today, and in all these three actually we have the separate units, because on array we have first unit, and pointers and structure we have a linked list, that unit. So there we are having the number of problems to practice getting this. So here you need to understand only that concept only, what is array, what is structure, and what is pointers, and how to use these concepts, so that you need to understand here. So whenever we just go in the respective unit, so there will have the practice, and the number of problems are also there. Okay, now next we'll see structure. Once you understood the concept of array, then that structure is same. Only here, whenever we just go for the definition, these are the points I'll cover into this. Uh, and the definition of the array, we send a collection of the elements with similar data types. That was the definition. So data type is same in array, but whenever we just talk about the structure, so here data type is not similar. And I think in the last lecture or last lecture somewhere, we have seen that we have listed the user defined data types, right? So this is again one kind of user defined derived data types, you can say, right? So we'll see that in detail, somewhat detail here. See, till this we have seen the basic data types like integer, character, and float. So that integer is having some size, integer variable is having some size, that character is having some size, and float is also having size, 1 2 4 something, right? So everyone is having defined size. But what we can do, if we have the different kinds of the elements in our hand, or if suppose that size is not declared or defined into the programming, so then what we can do? So this is the solution for that, we can say. One solution we have seen that the array, second is this one. So in structure, this is again a collection of elements with dissimilar data types, we can say. So whatever the elements are there into the structure, so these are not having same data types, getting this. So whatever is the data type here in structure, for every element that might be different. So it is a bunching of different data types, or we can say cluster of different data types, we can say here. So array is with the same data type, and that structure is with different data types. So this is the main difference between the structure and array. Now see, uh, this definition already we have seen. Now let we see how to define the structure, because here first we need to create the structure variable, because in normal the variables, simply we need to use any variable like int a, int b, or char a, char b, something, right? But here for integer or character, for all variable that size is same. But in structure, if you create any variable, so that variable will have the different size. So how that different size, that I just tell you. First let me see how to define a structure, then I just tell you about that size also. See, this is the syntax over here. We need to use this struct keyword. This is a keyword. We need to use this struct keyword here, right? Using this, this is the structure name, right? And these are the members, we can say. Now the example also I have given here. Struct is a keyword. This is a keyword. This is a structure name, and these are the members of the structure. So here I have just taken one that integer member, second is a character member or string member we can say, and third one is the float member, right? It means this is the cluster of integer, character and float we can say. Getting this? So in this case, suppose I am just creating one variable of this type struct student, then that whatever the variable I am just creating into this, so that size of that variable would be integer is having 2, like here it is 2. This is how much? Character, so this is 20, right? This is 20 because character for a single character it is 1. So here it is array of 20, so that's why I just taken this 20. And for float suppose 4. So what is the total size here? Total size would be this 20 plus this 222 plus this 4 as 26, right? So whatever variable we just create for this structure, that every variable will have that size is 26 bytes. Getting this? Sorry, this one, right? So every variable will have the size of 26 bytes for this structure. And that, see, whenever you just define the structure, so this semicolon is mandatory here. This is a opening brace, this is closing brace, and at the end of this closing brace we need to put this semicolon. If you are not putting the semicolon, it means this statement is not complete. Already I just told you, right? So here at the end this semicolon is mandatory. Don't forget this semicolon, right? So the semicolon index, this is the end of the structure, right? Now just remove this. I think this is simple one to calculate the size of the structure variable. I'll just take one example over here, right? How to create a structure variable. Here we have simply defined the structure. This one structure we have defined. Now we'll see how to create the structure variable, right? So now see, whatever is the struct student, this becomes the data type name. In this case, this struct student is the data type name, like integer, character, float. These are the inbuilt data types, right? Every data type is having its size. Now this is a user defined data type, and that name of this is this one, struct student. This is the data type name, and whatever variable we create after this data type, so that variable will have size of 26. So how it would be, that we'll see. Now see, creating a structure variable. So when we declare, when a struct type is declared, no storage or memory is allocated. To allocate memory of a given structure type and work with it, we need to create a variable. So what is the meaning of this one? Whenever we simply create this structure, suppose this is a structure, so no memory will be reserved. That you just keep in your mind. Whenever we simply define this structure, so that memory will not be reserved. When that memory will be reserved, when we create the structure variable, then and then only that memory will be reserved, right? So if you see this one in this case, this struct student, already we just define the structure, and this prn name and percentage, right? So this is the structure definition we can say. And how do we define the or declare the variable of type this struct student? You can see here, this one, I just make this as a blue, right? So this is this data type, whatever is the struct student, this is the data type, and these are the variables. Getting? S1 is a one variable, S2 is a second variable, and this is a array variable, that is a S of 30. sorry 20, right? Now see, S1 size would be 26, because this we calculated that 26, 2 for this, 20 for this, and 4 for this. So total is 26. So S1 size would be 26, S2 size would be 26, and this is an array. So for this is array of 20. Keep in your mind, array of 20. It means for one that size is 26. So whatever is the number you get, 20 into 26, that will be total size for this array. For this array, getting my point? Because this is an array of S, and this S is having type this struct student, and that struct student is having size of 26 here. So that's why S1 is having 26, S2 is also having 26, and this one will have 26 into 20. So whatever number you will get, that size would be that S is having. Getting this? So this is the one way of declaration, right, or creation of the variable. This is the second way of creation of the variables. Here what we did, simply we just defined the structure. At the end we just kept the semicolon, and actual variables we created over here. Getting? But in this second example, what we did, before the semicolon we just created these variables. If you see here, here semicolon is there, before semicolon nothing is there, but here before the semicolon we have S1, S2, and S of 20. That meaning of this example and this example is same, right? In both cases, two variables like S1 and S2, and array variable as having 20 elements, right? And these three variables will have that type struct student. Getting my point? So this is the most important here. If suppose in any exam they ask like, so what is the size of the S1 or like S2 or like S of 20 something, so you need to know what is the size of that variable, right? So I think you might understood this, how to create the structure variable, and this is the way of the creation of the structure variable. Getting this? Any doubt here? Okay, at the end also you can ask me the doubts, right? Now that next one is accessing the member of a structure. So here we have seen how to create the structure variables. Now how to access the structure members, because these are the members, right? PRN, name, and percentage. So how to access these PRN, name, and percentage, that will see. Now see, here there are two ways or two operators we just use to access these members of a structure. The one operator is dot operator. This one you can see, this is a dot operator. This is the used to access the structure member. And second is this arrow operator, that is also used to access the structure members. But when we can use this one and when we can use this one, so if you are using the pointer concept, then in that case you can use this arrow operator, and in the normal case we can use the dot operator. You've understood this? If you are using the pointer concept, so you just use this arrow operator, and if you are not using that pointer concept, it means the normal operation is there, then we can use this dot operator, this one, right? And using dot operator, suppose, see, as to variable, that example I just taken here, suppose you want to access the percentage of S2. So how we can access? See here, S1, S2, and S3, these three are sorry, S1, S2, and S of 20, these three are the variables. Now consider this S1 is the name of student, S2 is name of the student, and this is a group of students, we can say. Now S1 is the name of student, like for S1 what is PRN, for S1 what is name, for S1 what is percentage, this is for S1. Similar to S2 also, for S2 what is PRN, for S2 what is name, for S2 what is the percentage. right? So that's similar to this cluster also. In this cluster, what is the name of S of 0? S of 0 is the first person from this cluster. We can say first student from this cluster. So S of 0 name, sorry, PRN, S of 0 name, S of 0 percentage. Similar to that, S1 of PRN, S1 name, S1 percentage. Like S3 name, S3 PRN, S3 percentage. So like this from this cluster, right? So here, how to access that S2 percentage? So this is the way to access the S2 percentage. S2, then dot operator, then percentage. Getting this? And suppose you want to access the S1 name, then how I can S1 name like this, or like S1 percentage. In this way you can access, or S2 percentage, sorry, name, I say name. So in this way you can access the members of S1, members of S2. Getting this? So here you just understand that S is a individual member, and these are the properties or attributes of that S1 or S2. Getting this? So these, whatever are the members of the structure, these represents the attributes of S1, S2 and S of 20. Getting this? Like the for a particular student, like the name is like Rahul, right? So for that Rahul, what is the name, what is PRN, what is percentage, or whatever is the other information, city, address, something, something, right? So that means these are the attributes of that student. Getting this? So here, when we can use the structure concept, see, uh, one application I'll just tell you. Whenever we just fill any form, right? That form is a type of cluster, type of structure, and whatever are the fields we fill into that form, so these are the attributes, or we can say members of the structure. Getting this? So if you are using C programming for the any project, then in that case you need to use that structure concept. Without structure it is not possible to complete that. Getting? So this is accessing a member of a structure. Have you understood this? How to access? Now, why structure in C? So I just listed three already. I just told you that reason for this. Suppose you want to store information about a student, as I said. So information of that student is like PRN, his or her name, and this percentage, right? So for that you can create a different variables, PRN, name, and percentage, to store the information if you are not using the structure. Like here in the second the bullet I just told you, what if you need to store information of more than one student? So that, what is the traditional way? You can say PRN1, name 1, PRN percent 1, then PRN2, name 2, percent 2, then again PRN3, name 3, percent 3. So like this you need to create the variables. So if suppose that number of the variables are small, then in that case it is okay. But suppose you are having cluster of 100 or 200, in that case it is very difficult to create that number of variables. So it's better to create a structure, and for that structure provide these variable as a attributes. Getting this? So a better approach would be to have a collection of all related information under a single name struct sorry student structure, and use it for every student. Getting this? So this is the main reason why we need to use the structure, because without structure you cannot complete any project, a database project we can say. Because in database project we have the different attributes, and to store these attributes we need one the variable, and that variable we can say structure variable. Normally when I just anyone, when we talk like for the second year student, so we say second year student. But when we say second year student, that doesn't mean that is a single student. It means that is a group of the students or cluster of students. There are multiple students are there in second year. But one key that we are just saying that is a second year. Getting this? Similar to this also, S1 is or S or S2. That is a, we can consider that is a particular student, and attributes for the student are like name, PRN, percentage, address, city, whatever. Getting this? So this because of that we need to use the structure. Have you understood this structure concept? Whatever are the detailed problems related to this structure, we will see in the linked list, because in linked list that structure is a mandatory. Without structure we cannot complete any single problem there, right? So we'll have the practice on the structure in the linked list, and whatever the previous one we have seen, that is the array. So coming means from the next week I'll start that unit. In that we have the operations on the array. And next point I'll just take here, that is a pointer. So again in linked list, the we have the practice of the pointer, right? So here you need to understand only that concept of pointer, structure and array. So any doubt in this structure, please tell me if you are having any doubt, right? Okay, I'll just move for the last point, that is pointers in C programming. See, normally the everyone feels that pointer is very tough, very difficult or something. But actually, this is not tough. This is not difficult, right? Only here, the one extra step is been added. Whatever programs we do without pointer, so there is a direct communication between the programmer or that keyboard we can say and the memory, right? But here one more step we are adding, right? So what that step that I just tell you here. Now in this pointer, again as I said, it's again not changed, right? So first we will see the memory addresses, pointers, accessing addresses to pointers, and accessing values using pointers. So that I'll just take into this. Now see, memory addresses first, that I'll just tell you what is that, and then I'll just take that pointer concept. But see here, you just understand, if you understood that simple ordinary variable concept, then you can understand this pointer concept. Ordinary variable concept means what? I'll just tell you over here. I'll just take here, like suppose int a I have written, suppose. So what it mean int a? Anybody? So what is the meaning of this int a? Int a means when I just write simply this statement, so what happens inside the computer? So in memory, it reserve one block, like I just, oh, I don't know where it is. Hmm, shapes. Okay. So you can say in memory, this kind of block will be reserved, right? When I simply write int a, so what happens into the memory? Randomly, this will reserve one block into the memory. Suppose this is the block, and it gives that name to that block like A. Getting? You can see here, it's very tough to tell you this concept online, but anyway, right? This one. Getting? So when I just write this simply statement int A, so it will reserve one random block inside the memory, and that name of that block would be A, and address would be something like here. And just give something. Suppose that address is 10,000, right? So this one. So when simply we write single statement, this statement, then inside the memory this happens, right? And inside this any garbage value would be there. So don't think about the garbage value. Think here that is empty block, right? So this concept you understood, then whatever is the pointer concept that you will understand. Have you understood this concept? When we write simple this statement, then this block will be reserved, and that name of that block would be A, address would be this, and that main thing is whatever the value we can store into this, that is a normal value, like suppose 10. Getting this? It means with this statement only we can assign here any integer value, or suppose if you change the type, so we can say integer value, character value, or float value. Getting this? So it means this block is only for accepting any value through the keyboard. That's it. Getting this? And mainly that address is most important, because here I just assign this 10, but actually what happens with this procedure happens into the memory, and when we say that scanf %d and a, it means and indicate the address of a, and that address of a is this 10,000. At this address whatever that user will enter the value, that will be stored. Have understood this? Like here, see, okay, I just tell you, like int a, if I write this, and if I say scanf %d and a, this one, right? So meaning is what? This is the variable. This happens when I just write this. So whatever this scanf is to accept the input from the keyboard. So whatever the input entered by the user through the keyboard, that will be stored at this address. And A means what? At the address of A, that number or that input will be stored. So that and represent the address of A. That you just understand over here. Getting this? I think you might understood this. I'll just delete this one. Okay, right? This one. So I have just given here one example. That same example I just taken over here. Okay. So AND operator is used for the addressing, and normally till now we have seen that scanf function, and in that scanf function we have used that AND operator. Getting? So this example I just given whatever example we have seen here, and A means address of A. So whatever that user enter that value, that will be stored at this A's address, and we can print the value and address of that A also here, right? So this is the output or whatever we have. Like here we can say printf %d and A. This is what? This is the value of A, and printf %d and A. This is the address of A. See here you can use %d, %u. If your address is within that integer range, then you can, this will be work. Otherwise you can use %u, right? So what happened here? 1 minute. So long it, I'll just take over here. Unsigned int. Okay. Again, that same problem it is giving. See, if your that address is not belonging into that group, then in that case these problems comes, right? Okay, you just understand here, this address, whatever is the variable a address, that is beyond that one, that's why it is not showing here, right? Because that addresses are in hexadecimal also, right? Because the integer, long integer, everyone is having the range. So if your range is beyond that one, then that address is not printable. But in your case, you can understand whatever the address I have just shown here, that is a sample address. So this is coming under the integer or unsigned int. So that will fall into this, otherwise it will not getting. So otherwise you need to use that hexadecimal, right? So here I'll not spend time on that. So this is the value of entered value, this is value of a, and this is address of a. Getting this? So this is about the memory address. To print that memory address, we need to use this and then variable name. That's it. Getting? Now we'll just move toward the pointers. Now see, uh, here we have seen how to access that address using that, and we can access that address. Now, can I store that address somewhere into the memory? That is the point. So, to store that address into the memory, because till now we store that value, whatever value entered through the keyboard, that value we stored into the memory. But now, what we are thinking, whatever is the address of that memory block, that we need to store into the memory. And to store that one, we need to use the pointer concept. Keep in your mind that definition. I'll just tell you here. Pointer or pointer variable is a special variable that is used to store the address of another variable. Keep in your mind. Address of another variable. Here, example I have just given here. First example, int star p. This is a pointer variable. Meaning is what? This is a variable actually, but a special variable we can say. This variable is used to store the address of any other variable that it means. Getting this? Here see the two variables I just created here, p1 and p2. So see, p1 is a pointer variable and p2 is a normal variable, ordinary variable we can say. Suppose you want to store that address of this p2, then we can store that address of p2 into this p1. Please mute your mic once mic is on. Getting this? So that star p1 means that p or p1, in this case this is a p and here is p1. So star p means pointer variable. That pointer variable is used to store the address of any other variable. This is the meaning only, because if you are having the normal variable, so this is the variable, this p2 in this case, this p2 is the variable that is used to store the value of value entered by the user, you can say. P2 is the variable that is used to store the value entered by the user, and this P1, that P1 is the variable that is used to store the address of any other variable like P2. Have I understood this? This is the simple concept over here only. P2 is a normal variable, P1 is a pointer variable. So using that pointer variable, we can store the address. That is the thing only. Getting? Now how we can access? So you can see here. One example I just taken here. One is the pointer variable and second one is the normal variable here. That pointer variable is the P. Star p means that is a pointer variable. That star p means that p is used to store the value address of any other variable. So in this case, we are considering that other variable is a, right? This is a normal variable. In this a, we have assigned the value like 10, right? So this 10 you can hard code or you can accept it from the user, right? So this is the value. This is not the address. Keep in your mind that 10 is the value. This is not the address because that a is a normal variable. Now this p we can use to store the address of this a. You can see over here that statement is p equals to and a. P is a pointer variable and this is address of a. Suppose address of a is 1000, 10,000 or any hexadecimal value, so hex value, so that will be stored into this p. So here purposefully I just written here 10 is assigned to a variable and the address of a is assigned to a p pointer. So whatever I just told you, that same thing I have just written over here. A value we are not storing, but that address of a we are storing into p was capable of holding the address. So address of a we can store into p, or address of any other variable that we can store into the p. So that is a variable to hold the address of any other variable. That's it. Now how do we access this? Now see here, this example also I have given here. See, of printf %d and star p, that meaning is what would be the output of this one? So see here, this p is having address of a and that star p means pointing to that address. Getting this? Star p means pointing to that address. So whatever is the address stored into this p, this star that will point to the address of that, and whatever is value stored into that address, that will be printed over here. Getting this? So that output is 10 over here. Now see, one way to print that output is like this. %d this one, right? So output of this is also the 10, right? So output of this is also 10 and output of this also 10. Now here you can understand, for this statement we have used directly that a variable to print the value of a, and in this second statement we just use that star p, that is a pointer variable, to print the value of a. Getting this? So value of a using this statement is 10 and value at this address, whatever is the address stored into p, that value would be again 10. Getting this? Now here these points are most important, you just keep in your mind. And the above example, so p is a pointer, right? Not star p, because here we are assigning this address of a into p. Star p means what? That is a pointing to that address. So here p is a pointer, not star p. You cannot or should not do something like star p equals to and e. This statement is not correct. Keep in your mind, because this is pointing to that address. So we are storing this address of a into simply p. P is a variable. So this statement should not be there in our program. That statement should be like this: p equals to and a, right? And here star is called as dereference operator. Whenever we work with this pointer, it operates on a pointer and gives the value stored in that pointer. I think I don't know how much you understood this concept over here. Actually, I need page and pen or the board something to explain this one. It is very tough to explain you, right? So in this way you can access it, right? Any doubt here? Now see, one more concept is also there. So where is that insert? See, oh, like here I'll just take P. I'm very uncomfortable. This is P, and here suppose I'm just writing the address of this 10,000, right? Now see, we'll take this as of A, and this address is suppose 20,000, right? And actually into this 10 value would be there, right? And see, with this, what we can say, this is a P, this is a pointer variable, right? So this P is able to hold the address of any other variable. So this A is for only the integer value, we can say that whatever you enter, and this is not accepting that value, it is accepting only the address. So with the second statement P equals to and A, we can store here this 20,000. Getting this? So this is the scenario of this segment, we can say. And whatever is this one, when we just execute this statement, it means whatever the value of this 10, this will be printed. And when we just go with this statement, meaning is what? Print, that printf statement for the printing something. So print the value which is at this 2000. And where is the 2000? The 2000 is over here. And which value is there? That is 10 value. So that value we need to print it. Getting this? So this is the meaning of this. One more again concept. I'll just tell you. Like here. Of suppose P1, I'll just take this, and here, and the address would be suppose this is 5, right? So for this, that statement would be like printf %d and star star, this is a double pointer P1. Getting this? Meaning is what? The two pointers are there, so two levels are there, we can say, and we are using this P1. So first pointer means just go whatever is the address of this. So address is this 10,000. First we just go here. Again, second pointer means again that is not a value, that is address. So again this 20,000. So using this 20,000 you just go here, and whatever the value stored at this 20,000, that you have to print here. So in this case also that output would be 10. Getting this? So if you use this concept, whatever is this code, then this would be the scenario inside the memory. Have you understood this? So this is called as pointer to pointer. This is pointer, this is pointer to pointer, and this is an ordinary variable, we can say. You understood this? So here, I don't know whether you will understand it or not, but whenever we just take the linked list concept, there you will understand it, because they are only and only we are playing with pointer and structure, right? So that linked list is very interesting, very we can say a crucial part from this data structure. Once we understood that the linked list concept, then you can crack any exam, right? So this is about the pointer. So only here you will just understand pointer is for storing the address, nothing else. Because using this A also we can print the 10 value. Using this P also we are printing 10 values, and we are printing the 10 value using P1 also. It means only we have added that level. Now see, someone will say, if we are simply printing using that A, then what is the use of that pointer concept? Now see, in this example, actually it is not required, but when it is required in case of array, because in array we have number of elements into that, and as I said that first element address is most important, that is a base address. So how do we carry that base address? Once we know that base address, then we can find out the entire array. So to carry that base address, we need a pointer concept. Getting my point? To carry that base address, we need to follow this pointer concept. Because if I want to carry that base address, it means I need a pointer variable. Then and then I can store that base address into that variable, right? So here in this example, you will say what is used and something something, but actually this example is for understanding only. This is not actual reality example. When you just take the bigger problems, in that case this concept comes. Getting? So I think
Hello, sir.
yeah.
So like you had created the pointer for the star p star star p1. So
Yeah.
how many pointers that can be created, that star
See,
p2?
actually, there is no limit, because this is simply pointing, 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 pointing. Getting this? So
Yes.
it means there are two levels. If you are again using one more pointer, so again one more block you need to draw here, and we can say here that is P2, right? So then P2 will come first P1, then P, and then A. Getting this?
Yes, sir.
But see, unnecessarily don't make it complex. If it is required, then you can use this concept. Why I'm just telling you, for understanding only, you should know this is the concept. There is no any limit actually, right? Because this is the jumping kind of thing only, right?
Yes,
I've
sir.
understood.
Yes.
Okay. So any other? I'll stop my sharing the screen.